What's going on, everybody? This is Moonshine, the Hillbilly Hellraiser. Welcome to Moonshine Talking. How you been? How's everything going? Hope all is well with you. I'm doing all right. I can't really complain too much, but yeah, man, it's been a minute. It's been like what, like 3 weeks or something like that since I've done one of these things. Probably three and a half, whatever it was, but it's been a little bit. I've just been super busy, and on my days and nights off when I have time to do one of these things and I have ideas, I just don't. I get so caught up with doing other stuff, and it just seems like my weekends are a blur, and they're there 1 minute and then they're gone the next, and before you know it, I'm back wash, rinse, and repeat with my job and some of the other stuff that I do, just trying to stay healthy, trying to get gym time, working out and all that sort of thing. But otherwise, all is well. It's been miserable weather down here in Florida. It's just been rotten, just blackened skies and thunderstorms and rain and all sorts of stuff like that. So I was honestly going to do this earlier, but the weather was so miserable. I don't like firing up my computer during thunderstorms in case there's any sort of power outages or whatnot. I don't want there to be a power surge and destroy my computer. And then next thing you know, I got to go get another computer. So, and I don't really feel like doing that. But anyhow, all that said, the reason I'm here today is I'm going to do an album review. The album I'm going to be reviewing is Cryptopsy's new one, An Insatiable Violence. It just came out today, Friday what is it, the 20th, on Seasons of Mist Records. It's about 8 tracks long. Well, not 8 tracks long. It's got 8 tracks. I want to say it's about 33, 34 minutes long. And yeah, it's a doozy. Well, we'll get into that in a second, but I had a question for everybody. Have any of you seen this right here? This Drog Veil? This is a black metal one-man project from Prague in the Czech Republic. And it came out last week, June 13th, Friday the 13th. And I've seen a lot of people talking about it, posting images of it, and a lot of it seems to be around this just I'm trying to point to where but the mirroring thing, but this goofy ass cover over there, it's it's odd, it's bizarre, it's almost like given the bedroom eyes and all that sort of thing, surrounded by roses in a knight's outfit. It's pretty wild, but when you get past that goofy ass cover, it's actually not a bad album. It's only available, as far as I know, digitally right now. And from what I gathered, Drogvale, which is the artist name, he had another project that he did, and I guess he's been out of rotation for a little bit, and then he finally came out with this one, Cruel World of Dreams and Fears. And yeah, it's a mix of raw black metal and kind of like dungeon synth stuff, and it's it's not bad. I mean, it's like one of those, I guess, don't judge a book by its cover deals, because it's actually halfway decent. I'm not a learned expert on black metal, but so I couldn't really draw any comparisons to it off the top of my head. But as far as songs on it, the opener, Night Without a Name, Moonlit Resurrection, I should say, and Wolves Feast on Forgotten Dreams, those are really, really killer songs. Just very raw, very straightforward black metal. And then as far as a couple of the more synth oriented stuff, My Sword Points to the Past and Beneath the Armor I Rot, they're pretty good examples of what he does as far as that sort of thing. I mean, if I were to come up with anything to compare it to, it'd probably be, mostly because it's similar in style and something that I'm a little bit more familiar with, probably the band Order of Nosferat is probably a good one to compare it to. And I just picked up a bunch of their stuff recently. So I would definitely, if I were to offer up a companion piece to it, I would say check this out and then maybe go check out Order of Nosferatu, because both are in similar styles, So if you like one, you'll probably dig the other. So anyhow, but that was that. And yeah, if you have any thoughts on it, let me know because in little like private chats and whatnot, I've had people post an image of it. So I know some people, at least in my internet social circle, are talking about it. And then I've seen other people do videos on it, but I didn't watch them because the one channel that I saw that did something, I don't really watch his channel. So it really wasn't something that I was going to do, but I was just curious because I saw the Goofy album cover for a couple of weeks, and then finally I said, you know what, let me just see what this is all about. And I clicked on it while I was sitting on my TV and listened to it there, and I was like, it wasn't half bad. Listened to it a couple more times with the headphones on while I was at the complex here with their gym doing the elliptical, and it's good. So definitely go check it out. But anyhow, that's not why we're really here today. Really why we're here is to talk about the new Cryptopsy album. So like I said, this came out on the 20th of June. It's on Seasons of Mist once again. And it's a follow-up to 2023's As Gomorrah Burns. I thought that one, As Gomorrah Burns in 2023, that was when it was probably the second video I ever did as far as doing any sort of like recording videos or doing anything like this. My second video was my best of the year, and that one to me was the best thing that came out that year. It eked out Cannibal Corpse's album because for the longest the Cannibal album was at the top of my list. And then I heard that new Cryptopsy, or I heard As Gomorrah Burns. I picked it up. It was at the record store, and I just snatched it up and listened to it. I was like, this is just brutal, just from front to back. It's just a very, very killer album. And this one's not much different. It kind of stays with the same, I don't want to say theme or style, but it kind of keeps the momentum going. It would be the best way to describe it. It's effectively the same band since self-titled. You got Matt McGahey on vocals, who also has it's called Beer and Hops Metal Podcast. I think he's got on YouTube and maybe a couple other places, probably wherever podcasts or Spotify and iTunes and all that sort of stuff. But Christian Donaldson is guitar. He does guitar on this. And he also did all the recording, the engineering, the mixing. This was all done in his studio. So if I've seen some comments in the Seasons of Mist did an early album stream of it, and I saw some people talking about the production on it. So if you want to blame anybody, blame him. If you had a problem with it, go take it up with him. But Oliver Pinard on bass, and of course Flo Monnier, legendary drummer. He's been with the band since Jump Street, and he really is the glue that holds this band together. His drumming is top notch, and it's just so precise and technical and fast and brutal and all the things you'd come up with to describe it. That's what he does. I was reading the liner notes as far as promotional stuff, and they were talking about him literally writing the book on extreme metal drumming. I don't know if he actually wrote a book. If he did, cool, but I'm not familiar with it. I'm not a drummer, so it's not really something that would probably make much sense for me to read because I wouldn't know what the hell you could be writing in Sanskrit for all I would know, and it would be just as indecipherable to me because I'm a big dumb lunkhead, stupid meathead, and I'm not a smart man. There's guest vocals by Mike DeSalvo, he was their previous vocalist on Whisper Supremacy, and I can't remember the other one off the top of my head. And then Lord Worm came back, and then eventually Matt took the lead vocal roles. He took vocal roles over one or two albums after that. But Martin LaCroix, who has since passed, he did the album artwork on this one. And it's, yeah, man, this is a good one. This is definitely, I was excited when I heard this. I was listening, first time I listened to it, I was on the elliptical and I was listening to it. And I was like, man, this is pretty good. This is rocking out pretty hard. And just a lot like Christian's riffs and his leads. There's one part on probably my favorite song, Our Great Deception. he does these series of pinch harmonic squeals towards the end of the song that are really unique, very cool, really kind of tie the song together. As far as other good songs on it, Dead Eyes Replete is fantastic. Embrace the Nihility, which has Mike DeSalvo on it. That's the song that he helps out with on this album, is also very good. And the closer, Malicious Needs, is fantastic. That was actually one of the singles that I saw when they put that out, and that's when I was aware that Cryptopsy had a new album coming out. But overall, I would say that this album is just chock full of brutal brutal riffs, a couple breakdown parts. It's definitely a lot, and like I said before, it's really tied together by Flo's drumming. I mean, he really is kind of like the bedrock of the band. So it's not really it's kind of understandable. And Matt's vocals are on point. He's got a very, he switches between the growls and the shrieks really well, and he does a really good job on it. This isn't, and this is something that I saw. I made the mistake of reading comments, and a lot of what I saw was people talking about how this doesn't compare to None So Vile or Blasphemy Made Flesh. I even saw one person say this is the best thing they put out since None So Vile, and people were ripping them to shreds in the comment section. And it's definitely, it's a, if that's all you're familiar with Cryptopsy, and or that's even all that you like from Cryptopsy, this is definitely a departure from it, because where you get on those first two albums, you get more of the grind style coming out of them. This is more like it's brutal tech death, but it even would probably appeal to some of the metalcore people, which I know, kind of clutch the pearls on that one. But overall, it's really a solid one. It's definitely, for me, as far as my leaderboard goes, it's definitely polling pretty high as far as top albums of the year. And that might change. I mean, I've listened to it a couple of times, probably like 3 or 4 times since my first initial one. And some of the songs kind of lost a little bit of their luster for me. I'll be very honest. And then there was I can't remember which song it was, but there was one time where I said with Our Great Deception, where Christian had a very unique use of pinch harmonics and the squeals and all that sort of thing. There's a couple times on the album where if I were to criticize anything, I would say probably the overuse of it. It kind of gets like almost like a crutch. Like he's relying on it too much to, you know, craft riffs or like transitions to different riffs or different verses and chorus stuff like that. But yeah, and then lyrically it's kind of cool because it's supposed to be like an interpretation of our our kind of like our masochistic devotion and almost addiction to social media. And it was kind of cool to see some of like how you read the lyrics and you start to see how, oh, this is probably this. Like the first song on the album, The Nim is Adoration, that's supposed to be about mukbangs. And I had to look that up because even though I do this and I have a computer and all that sort of thing, I'm not really like an internet guy. I don't follow a whole hell of a lot of like I'm not on Instagram, I'm not on TikTok, I have a Facebook, but I barely use it. And I don't know, I might eventually end up on Instagram just to promote this stupid thing, but other than that, I don't do a lot of social media. And a lot of the YouTube stuff I watch, if it's not metal stuff, if it's not pro wrestling stuff, if it's not stuff talking about horror movies, and maybe a little bit of politics, current affairs and stuff like that. I don't follow a lot of like what people would say are trends. And that was the theme of Embrace the Nihility, which was it was kind of cool because you just kind of exploring that aspect of people trying to, just following the likes and the trends and trying to beat the algorithms and all that sort of stuff just for celebrity or to get insta famous or whatever it is. But the Nimbus adoration, going back to that, it's about, I guess, mukbang is when you're just eating a bunch of, I would assume, crap food. And I guess the idea is watching the person explode from within. And that was kind of cool and definitely falls right in line with what Cryptopsy would present lyrically. Dead Eyes Replete. I thought that was kind of like that was a allegory for child e-celebs. At least that's what it seemed. That's what I took from it or interpreted from it, listening to the lyrics. And then I was just trying beyond that. I was trying to figure out which song would kind of fit with whatever sort of like the message or little aspect of social media that they were trying to talk about in the album. But Malicious Needs, that was basically there was a I think it was supposed to be again some sort of like a twisted parable of sorts where it was talking about a guy creating a machine that would tear him apart at night, rip his flash and almost kill him. But he was getting off on the concept of doing it. So every morning he would wake up and he would tweak the thing just so he could do it again the next night. And that was the video. And the video, it was very heavily censored on YouTube. So I don't know if there's an uncensored version somewhere, but nonetheless, overall, I would say that out of 8 tracks, I would say at least 6 of them are solid tracks. So I would give this a 6 out of 8 if we're going to rank it. And yeah, man, it's a solid one. It's definitely is worth checking out. I told a few people already, definitely check it out. You'll probably enjoy it. And yeah, man, it's up there as far as stuff I've heard. And yeah, so go pick it up if you like. It's available now. Cryptopsy and Insatiable Violence, available on Seasons of Mist Records. That's where I picked it up. It's shipped out, so I'm just waiting on my copy of it. But I've listened to it a bunch of times digitally and on YouTube. They were, like I said, they did the early stream. Seasons of Mist did. So yeah, it's a good one. It was fun. It was a fun listen. It was a good time. Definitely something you can listen to working out, pumping iron, trying to motivate you to get that extra rep in or whatever it is or whatever you're doing. It's cool. So definitely I approve. But yeah, man, other than that, as far as anything else I got going on, I got a couple more unique videos, not so much album reviews, but I got a couple of things I'm trying to put together as far as talking about different genres and subgenres and stuff like that. And then I'm probably when I can get some time too, I might do some of it after this, but I got some live footage I wanted to show from a show I went to recently. Everybody knows my phone is crap. So the footage I get is usually the audio is garbage on it. So that's why I really don't post a lot of it too much anymore. So once I get a better phone, because I've heard getting the newer models of phone, they tend to be better for that sort of thing. So I'm gonna look into that, and then maybe I'll be able to post better videos online as far as that goes, and go back to doing my proper live show recaps and reviews and all that sort of thing. But I went to a show on Friday the 13th. It was album release party for band Tunnels of Set. They're a local band, and they have an EP that just came out. I apologize, but I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But they were teamed up with a band called Sacrilus, which is another black metal band from here in the Tampa area, and there was Grave Filth, which is a fantastic band from Gainesville. They do more like almost kind of like brutal death, almost not so much bordering on grind, but it's definitely brutal death kind of stuff. If you're like a fan of Iron Fortress Records and stuff like that, you'd probably enjoy Grave Filth. My buddy Anthony from Metal Miners, he pointed out when I told him I was going to a show not too long back, I saw Cardiac Arrest and Grave Filth were one of the bands that got to open for him. And he was telling me how, I'd get to meet Jared and how what a cool guy he was and so on and so forth. And as it turned out, I actually knew Jared. We had run into each other at a Gate Creeper show and got talking. He and a buddy of mine and his girlfriend, we all got talking with each other, and we hung out while Worm was playing. Worm was open for Gate Creeper that night. So he's a cool dude. He's definitely a cool dude. He's got a good band. Definitely check him out if you haven't heard him before. And then there was this shirt I'm wearing is for another local band called Othelon. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And they're more of like a blackened punk band in the vein of Midnight. And they did a fantastic job. They opened up for Cardiac Arrest too. They were the opener, the curtain jerker, if you will. But they did a fantastic job. And then there was another band. I want to say their name was Horror, but it was spelled WHORER or OR. I can't remember the exact spelling of it, but they were pretty decent from what I recall. They were again more black and punk kind of stuff, but definitely it was a fantastic show. It was a lot of good energy in the room. The sound was really good, and I gotta say, Sacrilus were super tight. I actually a while back I bought their cassette at another show I went to where I saw them, and I sent it to Revik from Morden Red, and unbeknownst to me, he did a video talking about a bunch of black metal bands that people should check out, underground stuff you might not have heard of, and he featured them on the video. So I happened to run into the guitar player at a show, and I got chatting with him and so on and so forth. And I told him about Revik's channel, and he didn't know who Morden Red were, but he was like, "Oh, that's very." I said, "Yeah, I sent him your stuff, and he really liked it. He featured on channel." And then I found him. We exchanged info, and I found him on Facebook, and I sent him the link. And it turns out his drummer, their drummer Vance, he actually knew the channel, knew Morton Red and Revik, and was a fan of the channel. So they were all super stoked to have their stuff featured somewhere. And then they also featured Revik also featured another band called Lore, Lore, which stood for Litmus of Ruinous Entities, and that had members of both Tunnels of Set and Sacrilus. So, and Vance, the drummer for Sacrilus, he was in Lore as well. So he was super excited to have two bands that he was in featured on somebody's YouTube channel that got halfway decent views. So it was pretty cool, and they were super excited when I saw them. They all got chatting with me and you know treating me very well. They're very nice, and I ended up picking up some more of their stuff. So yeah, it was a good time. I had fun. It was a blast, and I enjoy supporting local music. It's one of those things where, to me, listening to metal my entire life, all forms of it, being a lifelong metal fan, being a lifelong music fan. Music's a big thing in my life. It kind of keeps me sane at various points of the day, in my week, month, year, whatever the case, my life. So to kind of give back a little bit, whether it's going out and buying their merch or going and paying a ticket to go see bands, or even doing this crazy nonsense and getting to talk about bands and kind of spread the word about it. Any underground bands or any bands in general, but especially, getting it out there where you get local bands getting to kind of get a little bit of shine on them. I think that's kind of paying it forward, or, giving back a little bit to something that's given me so much. So anyhow, so with all the sappy, sentimental horse shit out of the way, I want to thank you for watching. If you stuck around this long, I know I can babble, and I know it's been a while since I've babbled, so I got a little bit of pent up video recording energy in me. But yeah, man, so that's that. Hope you all have a good one. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, go check out some of the other videos. If you're new here, hopefully you stick around and check out more of my stuff. Would love to see more people subscribe, and more importantly, I'd like to see more people watch more of the videos, because just speaking personally, some of it's lo-fi, very very DIY stuff, but I try to occasionally do some like production-y kind of stuff, and it'd be nice for people to check it out and hopefully be entertained by it, because that's the whole point of me doing this. Put myself out there like this is to try to entertain people, and hopefully somebody gets a laugh out of it, or they find something, they find a band or a song that they weren't familiar with, or an opinion on something that they didn't really, they didn't think of it from that perspective, or whatever the case is. But anyhow, that's all. I'm bordering on a half hour here, so I don't want to take up any more of anybody's time. So as always, this is Dan from Moonshine Talking, saying, stay sick, stay heavy, stay brutal, always tuck your chin up on impact. And don't forget to breathe. Everybody, have a good one. Take it easy. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Later.